Do you have an idea for a podcast that would be perfect on the Podpire Network? Head over to thepodpirenetwork.com/pitchapod today. That is thepodpirenetwork.com/pitch-a-pod. You could be our next great podcast host. The following podcast is a production of the Podpire Network. Find and listen to our podcasts at thepodpirenetwork.com or wherever you enjoy your podcast. The Podpire Network, a family of inspired podcasts. Welcome, one and all,
hello.
Young and old,
Hello.
boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen,
Non-binary folks.
What other non-binary folks? Pets.
Non-corporeal entities.
Sure. Okay. Good.
Ghosts.
Good.
Of Christmas past,
ghosts,
present,
and future. Yeah. Isn't this the final episode we're going to be making before Christmas? Right. That's apt. I think. Is it?
I think so.
Is it the final?
I think it is.
I'm not sure. We might have another one just before Christmas. Sibel. I gotta
it
check.
Depends on when we drop. Is Christmas after the Friday, the next Friday?
I think so. Wait, hold on a minute. So this episode is going to be released on the 24th. That's right. That is right.
This is our Christmas episode,
Yes, this
people.
is the final.
Yeah.
This is our Christmas episode. All right.
Joy in the way.
Right. Are you a very big Christmas guy? Or
No,
I don't think
I've ever really celebrated it. I didn't grow up with it.
Okay. Right. Did you ever get into the whole we're getting time off, we have to buy presents?
Oh, no, I've never done gifts until very recently. The first time I ever gave a gift was this year. We did a Secret Santa in school, the college program I'm in. And
nice.
That was cool. I love everything around it. I love all this, the music and the lights and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I grew up in the Middle East, and that's Christmas isn't really a very big part of our native culture. So I just never really got into.
Tell that to last week's subject, Timothy Dexter, who is sending Bibles over to you.
Yes. You failed, Timothy. You failed.
Well, not from his perspective. He made a lot of money doing it, but ultimately.
The missionaries, you failed.
This is, we had a bit of snow over the past couple of days over here, where I live with Toronto adjacent. I'm sure you had some snow as well in your neck of the woods.
A
Sibel.
little bit, yeah.
A little bit, yeah. So, all in all, very holiday, very holiday vibey right now. Yeah. I'm just looking forward to the end of the year. Now, I say that with no real expectation of what's coming next year, right? Because I remember this time last year, we were just thinking, if we could just get through 2020. 2020 has been so awful. Next year is going to make everything, better. And you just realize that, on the calendar, it might say a different year, but hey, it's really just one day switching into another day. And, if nothing's changed, then nothing's changed, right? I think we put a lot of pressure in 2021 to make up for all the stuff that, we experienced in 2020. And it just could not live up to all that expectation. Did you find some of that, as well in your circles?
Absolutely. I mean, it's understandable. I think a lot of people, myself included, there's a lot of fatigue around how
people are just tired.
Yes. People are tired. I mean, the pandemic's taken a lot of people. I mean, recently, I've lost someone in my close circles. It's a very real thing.
It's terrible.
Yeah, and especially for people like you and me who have circles and family that are literally across the globe. A global pandemic has a different sort of reality because we're sort of experiencing it both from where we're at and then also from where everyone we know is at. And so we're familiar with what their realities are, what they have access to, what they don't have access to. So I think, 2020, we were all 21. We were just like all hoping would be better. And we're almost, I think things are getting better. We're lucky to have like vaccinations now and other things like, but ultimately the reality is like many things, especially at this scale, it takes time. It's slow. So fingers crossed, stay safe, get your shots. Be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely been more than enough sadness to go around in the past, 2 years, going on 2 years now, which is why it's such a blessing that we're able to do a comedy podcast in the middle of the madness.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
It's like,
we met because of it in a way.
It's such a, you could say that, right? It's definitely a bright spot for me.
Likewise.
Making this hilarious podcast with you, and so as we close out the year, it's definitely something that I'm thankful for. But look, we could go on and on about this stuff, but are we here to do a podcast or are we here to do a podcast, right? So we are very thrilled to bring you today the story of a certain Anna Sorokin or Anna Delvey.
Anna Delvey.
I guess.
Anna Sorokin.
You get to choose. You get to choose which one you want to go. You want to call her by. But this star, Isabel, we were having a bit of back and forth before we hit record today.
Yeah.
And we were talking about what the comedy angle of this was. And so I was saying that it's the fact that she got away with so much for so long before she was ultimately busted. And we're diving into some of the sociocultural, factors that might have had, some weight in that whole situation, right? Some of the things that, we take for granted, that other people take for granted, some of the expectations that you can, come to just expect just based on where you grew up, what you look like, what skin tone you have, who you have access to, that sort of thing. So this one is really, really funny for me, not in a ha 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 way, although I'm sure I will find the ha ha ha's, but in more of a I can't believe you got taken by that. So it's more in like a commentary in society. It's definitely not as hilarious, like roll off your couch the way like the Timothy Dexter episode.
That's a high bar.
That's the one to beat. That's the one to beat for sure.
That's a big hat to fill.
That's a big hat to fill. I see what you did there with his ridiculous hat that he used to wear all the time.
Ridiculous hat.
Yeah.
So I think, the discussion we had was really interesting. And you're right. I think what this story really brings to light after our discussion is, what this story exposes is how there are different rules for different people, especially people who are rich. And what Anna managed to do is she figured out how to pull the triggers and push the buttons that gave her access to those other rules without those actually being a part of the club
of society and instruments of finance. That exactly. Yes.
And I think during the pandemic, we've seen just globally how these socioeconomic structures have really
tell me about
not worked, and how we've seen like these wealth inequalities just get worse and worse. And a lot of this, I think, comes down to the fact that the systems, there are two different systems or three, but there's definitely one that is separate for the elite. And so they've built this, there's a sort of a, shall we say, a walled garden that that is not meant to be accessed by someone who is not part of those special
exclusive
places. It's very exclusive. And she managed to find the way in. Yeah. And so you're right. It is very funny because she managed to find that system and exploit it. And that maybe unofficial or official system, it really only exists to grease the wheels for those who have so much money that it shouldn't matter. Right. And when someone comes along and manages to actually utilize all those same facilities without actually having the buck to fill the gap, that's what happens. And I think the way you put it was really interesting, that her entire story would have never, this whole story would never have happened if she looked like us. If she looked like us, and if these institutions had
just applied
enacted the same rules that they do to everyone, right? If they had the same level of scrutiny that they did for the average person, basically, if they followed their own rules.
If they followed their own rules,
Anna Sorokin's story would have ended
quicker than
it would have never been there. She would never have checked in. She would have never been at these places.
No lines of credit, none of that. Right. So let's I think we've kept our dear listeners in suspense for long enough. I think we should dive into the story. And of course, we begin by saying welcome one and all to Harebrained Schemes, the podcast where we talk about ill-conceived ventures that are almost always hilarious. As always, I am Bibby, and over there, this time, hopefully remembering his name,
Sabel. I got it. Although I did have to mentally prepare.
I saw your expression slowly changing as I started to introduce myself. And you're like, oh no, he's going to come to me, isn't he? He's going
to It's so weird. I obviously love to talk, and yet I always get confused about my own name.
Are we decided now that your name is Sabel and that's what we're going forward?
Yes. It is Sabel.
It is?
Always rings a bell. I have my own little jingle for it.
All right.
Because it's a bell. See? Right. Jingle. Sure. This is how much I like my name.
Got you.
That I keep forgetting to say.
But somehow you keep forgetting it just when you need it the most.
Oh, God.
Right. But we are so excited to bring you this episode on Anna Sorokin / Anna Delvey. And for this one, as always, we will start on the Wikipedia. And by the way, I just want to say, guys, sometimes, if you use Wikipedia, I'm sure you've seen where they ask you to donate or something. If you can, please donate to Wikipedia. I cannot tell you how many times Wikipedia has come clutch for us, right? On this podcast, for example, you hear us go to the Wikipedia a lot. Even in normal everyday life, right? We go check out Wikipedia and they're doing such a great job. This is not sponsored advertising, I will say. Wikipedia is not paying me to do this or say this. I just really think that Wikipedia is awesome because they do so much for us for free, right? And of course, they have staff and they don't run ads on their platform, right? So if you could just chip in when they ask you to donate, I personally have donated multiple times. Nice. That's not a brag. It's just I'm trying to say that I'm not asking you to do anything.
WikiClout.
WikiClout. Do I get into the exclusive Wiki Club now, bro? No, that's not what this is. I'm just saying, look, it's super easy to donate. Usually there's PayPal or something that you can just, click a button and you're done with it. But if you can donate to Wikipedia, please do that. But yes, we will be starting as usual on this episode on the Anna Sorokin Wikipedia. And it says, Anna Sorokin, born January 23, 1991, is a Russian-born German convicted fraudster. Between 2013 and 2017, she pretended to be a wealthy German heiress under the name Anna Delvey in order to defraud banks, hotels, and wealthy acquaintances. She was convicted of multiple counts of attempted grand larceny.
Larceny in the second degree.